I'll be honest with you. Courtney calling me a rapist and a pedophile, I think, is very funny. I think it's Kino content. What we were about to get into is one of the most frustrating rants about ancient history I have ever heard on YouTube. This woman's level of understanding may be as bad as tactical Templars. It's actually kind of fucking impressive. She would never say any of this to your face, Malifon with the two. She won't get into a call with me. Again, I've not asked, but I have been told, like, through the grapevine, that she was like, I'll never talk to him. I'm like, well, again, didn't ask, never offered. I don't know what she'd do in a call with me. Look, the reason I don't want to call with her is I just mock her. There's no productive conversation to be had with Courtney.
Ori. The world operated on a trade and fucking barter system up until the Spartans.
The world operated on a trade and barter system up until the Spartans. No, it didn't. What the fuck are you talking about? Okay. We'll get into it. It's fine. It's fine. It's all good.
You know, people developed skills. They did things. They learned how to do things so that, one, they could do it for themselves, and two, if they came across something they didn't know how to do for themselves or couldn't do for themselves, they had something to offer the person that could do it for them in exchange for the service or the goods being, like, traded. Excuse me. Fucking, and then that's how the world fucking existed for eons. That's how people existed for eons, was off the trade and barter system. That's why the Silk Road was as prominent as it fucking was. Not...
Okay. The Silk Road is very specifically... Hold on. Actually, no. I'll let her get through this little bit. Holy shit. I'm actually crashing out already.
The background, back market, fucking, dark web one, the one that, like, ran through most of fucking, Europe and like...
The one that ran through most of Europe. The Silk Road is Asian. It's also not that old. I think it's like 300 BC. Like, currency, by the way, the earliest record we have of currency is about 900 BC. Not record, I should be clear. The earliest sort of coinage we have is about 900 BC. But we know that they used forms of currency before that. Like, it wasn't just a pure barter system. That's not how things worked. Okay. Obviously, barter was a form of trade, and barter was a form of trade into the 1900s. Okay, barter just didn't suddenly disappear where you're like removing the where you're like not trading goods for goods with the invention of coinage. That's not what happened at all. Holy fuck. Almond City with the 5. Tell her your mum wants a word with her, and when she gets in the video, call us just an urn. I've been so tempted to bring my mum's like ashes on stream before, but I think even that for me might be a bit far. Great night with the 10. Wasn't the concept of money invented like in Asia like a couple of thousand years before Sparta was even a thing? Also, take some of my greedy sin money. True. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about like the earliest. I think like I think it's in the Google Doc, one of the earlier ones, one of the earliest ones. But we've got some stuff to get into. Let's just keep going. Crashing out.
Like Egypt and shit went fucking everywhere. Excuse me. And then the Spartans came along, and the Spartans put all of their fucking time and energy into developing their armies and their combat and their battle strategies and whatnot. Literally, that's all their people fucking did, was trained in battle. Even their men and women just trained in combat.
This isn't true. This isn't true. So, but Spartan boys were trained in combat. Spartan women were not. Okay, they were still seen as women within Greek like culture in the ancient world. Women were barely fucking people. This is like fucking Aristotle lays this out with telos being something that only men have. Okay, it's very important. Women dressed up as soldiers on their wedding day. Like, that is like so. So it's almost like a lot of the soldiers might have an attraction to other male soldiers. It's Greece. But yes, this is just insane. Pedo accusation, Beckett sleeps. Failing basic history, Beckett crash out. True Hopkins of the 5. I am unreasonably angry about this. Llamas with the 5. She's saying this so confidently, I can't even comprehend where she gets it. It's incredible.
And made more fucking Spartan soldiers, and they just, grew like a little fucking colony of army ants. And, at the
Okay, now you get stickers. Now you get stickers. Well done, guys. Have some stickers. Thank you so much. Let's fucking go.
Fucking they were like formidable, don't get me wrong. They fucking took over like so many different civilizations and shit. But
this also isn't true. Like, the Spartans weren't like shit, but history, like modernity has turned the Spartans into something they just weren't. They were fantastic infantry, but they were shit at sieges and they were shit at naval warfare. Okay, they expanded and took over a few areas, but once they actually started to meet more, should we say, diverse military forces, they were completely fucking crushed. Like, they fell apart. And actually, funnily enough, with this coinage argument, Sparta was massively on the decline by the time they started using currency.
But their battle prowess came at the cost of their ability to even fucking support themselves. None of their people knew agriculture. None of their people knew trade.
Again, this isn't fucking true. After military service, you became a farmer. Also, all the city-states were supported by large agrarian communities around them. This is true of Athens as well. Holy shit. The stream of consciousness in Rant was revealed to her in the form of an intrusive thought. Thank you, Grey Knight with the 5. I cannot imagine being this confidently wrong about ancient history.
It's like barely any, if any, of their people knew how to do anything besides conquer, rule, and fight. So they ended up, the result was they had to take slaves from every fucking civilization they conquered to do the farming for them, to do the construction for them, to do the shit that they didn't know how to do. And once they started running into civilizations that they couldn't conquer, they don't really have much in the way of trade and barter system, because the civilizations they kept like as captive slaves were so tapped out.
Also, not true. Sparta, funnily enough, talking about trade and barter, when Sparta ran into other civilizations who they weren't like planning to conquer, do you know what they did? They traded their skills. Spartans were mercenaries. Often you'll find like historical battles with sections of Spartan soldiers in them, because that's what they exported. They exported literally the skill. Literally the thing you are saying they don't have. It is so frustrating. I like the way Vlad turned up. He was like, I'm leaving. I can't. I'll actually lose my fucking mind.
Out in trying to support the massive demands of the insane size of their fucking army. And,
please mention the Helots.
Like, amount of shit that it took to keep their army as strong as it was. That they didn't have anything to trade in for other civilizations that they couldn't quite match in battle or just stamp out entirely. So they literally invented the concept of coin.
Okay, so I got so annoyed at this that I went and just grabbed a quick article. Among the foremost cities of ancient Greece was Sparta, famed for its militaristic social structure. Though the Spartans were accomplished in many regards, they maintained a low profile when it came to coinage. A medium exchange they found both effeminate and unappealing. Whereas Athens struck untold millions of coins over a nearly 800-year period, Sparta issued precious few coins in comparison. The city had few issues of any consequence, which places them in high demand among collectors of ancient Greek coins. The Spartans were so opposed to the idea of coinage that the Lycian constitution forbade the possession and use of coinage within the city's frontiers. This hostility towards coinage was not breached until the mid-3rd century BC, more than 250 years after Athens had begun producing coinage on a large scale. It's literally the opposite of reality. This woman, like, it's like, why do people get so mad at me when I just make this? Because you're constantly fucking wrong about anything. Like, your ability to be incorrect is like you could almost take statements Courtney makes and just go, yeah, it's probably the opposite of that though, isn't it? And you'll be right a good 50 to 70% of the time, depending on what we're talking about. I think Courtney's like, I'm trying to think what I'm like. Yeah, Courtney's right on this. Bitch weasel. There we go. She's right about a phrase being funny. There's an entire. I don't want to read this whole thing. Rain put together an entire Google Doc. It's actually very good. It's fucking cited. I'm waiting for her to mention Atlantis or Tartaria. Dude, thank you, Weird Color Guy, for the 5. Actually insane. However, the earliest quotes we know of do not come from Sparta. At most, she could be referring to the Electrum pieces found under a temple of Artemis. However, these are preceded by even Lydian coins, Lydia being part of Antonia, where modern-day Turkey resides, minted 600 to 601 BCE. I'd actually dispute this. I think it's earlier than that. I think it's like 900. For some of the coins that they found. The existence of the bullier in ancient Mesopotamia points to the concept of recording as early as the 8th millennium BCE. That's 8,000 BCE, 10,000 years ago. Suck my college dropout dick, Courtney. She's clearly talking with the Spartans from Halo. True! Thank you, Grey Knight. Almond City, 2 words. Functional literacy. And here we go. First Chekhov's gun. Let's go. I told you it would be relevant when we put it down in Act 1. She is so insanely fucking incorrect. It's actually wild. And her chat are just like speaking facts. Dude. Actually, that's probably referring to something ages ago, because like her chat barely fucking moves.
Very first.
Happy birthday, streamer man! Thank you. None of your business. For member for 50 months at Coping, guys. Really getting up there. Super best.
Coin was Spartan coin, and I think it had Leonidas on it. You can look it up and correct me if I'm wrong. I probably am.
You are. We have looked it up. Everyone is correcting you. You've managed to come on and be like, people get so mad at me. The only people who are really angry at you over this stream are the fucking history nerds.
But it was the Spartans, and they fucking basically convinced, I believe, the Romans.
Did you know that BC refers to before Courtney?
Greeks. Again, correct me by all means. I kind of jumble up my dates a little bit. And they fucking... Even the Egyptians. And they convinced everybody that this shit held value. And slowly turned the fucking economic system from trade and barter to gold based. Well, it wasn't gold, but it was precious metals and jewels. And that's.
Do you have any idea how early people were working with gold? What? You're talking about Egypt, the oldest, the oldest and longest running empire. Actually, I think Rome is technically longer, but unfractured empire, shall we say. Holy fuck.
Started the shift of trade and barter into money exchanging hands, and because the equivalent, the money that we exchange hands today is representative of, again, still precious metal reserves. It's still tied to that fucking archaic concept that was bred off of the back of them being too fucking short-sighted and stupid to develop their own people.
So yeah, Sparta interacted with Egypt, again, who had coinage of their own. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And were mercenaries for Egypt. What are you doing?
People past the point of being able to sustain themselves.
They were broken by the Romans. Sparta didn't crumble because they weren't able to sustain themselves like everywhere else in Greece. They got crushed by the Romans because the Romans were superior, a superior military force. So, same with that. Same with everywhere. What the fuck are you talking about? Again, this isn't even complicated, secret ancient history. This is very, very, very basic.
That's why, like, money and power corrupts ultimately, to be quite honest, is because it breeds laziness. Like, if you don't ever have to do anything for yourself,
I
you.
think Macedonia bodies them first. Yeah, Macedonia did body them first. But they were still around. I'm talking about like the actual full crumbling. Dude, now I'm debating fucking Arcani. We'll argue about it tomorrow. A great night with the 5. Didn't the Spartans really not consider themselves Greek until like after the cities were founded? Okay, so now I get to use my degree. We think today in the idea of countries. We think about the Greeks, we think about the Romans, we think about like England. That is not how, like, that's relatively recent, okay? The reason we like hold Athens and Sparta separate, even though they're part of the same what we'd consider general landmass now, is you actually like your belonging was to your city states. Like, and this is true in England, right? If you ask somebody like 700 years ago, and I'm just talking like 700 years ago here, where are you from? They will not say England. They'll say, I don't know, York. They'll say the location of the city state, because until the advent and like massive export of the cannon into Europe, city states are what mattered. And it's only when, like, actually it's France, because it's always the fucking French. France got, like, was using cannons, and the French king at the time was trying to basically raise an army. And anyone who knows anything about French history will know French kings have a lot of trouble historically managing the city-states. Because the city-states just were like, if they said no, what were you actually going to do as the king? You can't siege one of your own cities for months when you're preparing for war. You just can't do it. But then they got cannons. And the king basically turned up to this city-state that had refused to hand over any troops for the war, and blew the walls down and said, you are going to give us fucking troops, or the rest of the city's going too. And they went, yeah, okay. And that was the end of the city-states period. Like, again, Courtney doesn't know what the fuck she was talking about. Ancient Greek art fact. The reason why humanoid monsters have long wild hair and beards in Greek art is because they were meant to represent non-Greeks. Yeah, like, again, Greeks, like, and I'm using the term loosely, who lived in the surrounding areas and were in agrarian like societies. You know, they had issues around like the agrarian societies had issues around like syntax within their language. Like, it's difficult to differentiate like past, present, and future tenses in ancient rural Greek, because there was no need. Like, again, language was developing. Like, I don't think people realize how much like time, how little time has passed since we started advancing into more like should we say interesting ways to express ourselves. If you go back to things like tax records, for example, in ancient time, this is one of the arguments against Taoism, by the way, like the history of Taoism. The argument is, well, Taoism's been around for like well into the BCs, but actually the reason that is very unlikely is because the writings of Tao, like the Tao Te Ching writings, are unlike anything else written in that period. They resemble far later ancient Chinese texts, because no one wrote this shit. It's not what written language in China was used for. Not at all. People seem to think we're post-historical. Human history is a blink of an eye. Yeah. Because that's the argument of why Lao Tzu wouldn't have been able to point, oh, here are these scrolls from the fucking library, because they wouldn't have existed. Anyway.
You simply won't. And then the authority, the projected authority that breeds, not ever having to do anything for yourself, not ever having anybody chide you or correct you or stand up to you, then like you devolve into the very worst kind of fucking person you could, because you had the potential.
Okay, I need a quick 2-minute break. I need to go and grab another drink. I'm gonna put on a song. This'll do. Okay, I'll be back in like literally 2 minutes. Grab a drink, grab a piece of cake, and I'll see you in 2 seconds. I'm back. Right. Right, let's go.
Potential to be, because there's nothing correcting you. People care so fucking little about what others and are willing to fucking defend pedos and rapists. This is our fucking world.
I love this comment. And they say that school is useless. Legit shows us that we don't fucking change. Bro, you're being educated by a moron. I get it. It's a retarded leading the blind. Unbelievable. I can't believe she doesn't know her basic history. This is extremely irritating to listen to her, not know anything in the US or let alone Canada. Bro, she's so obviously a fucking high school dropout. It's brutal.